I am someone who's also not that confident when they speak Spanish because of my thick American English accent. It sucks, but the only way I'm going to get better is practicing, and I got a tip for us today. Okay. Hola, buenos, me llamo daljiimarax. On this channel, we learn in Spanish, okay? Hey, we learn it together, all right? So, we all know to get better at speaking Spanish, you have to speak it. But what I think people do is they try to learn how to say a couple words and then go out and speak it to someone, and that's the hard part. That's the part that we never get to, is speaking to someone because we're self-conscious. But because we're self-conscious, we never do it, so we never get better. This is what you want to do. You want to speak Spanish in complete silence. You need to hear yourself. You need to understand what you are saying, how you are saying it, while simultaneously reading that word. So that probably sounds like reading a book, but no. Reading a book can be a bit intimidating at the beginning stages of trying to get better at your pronunciation, so I found a better solution, okay? Instead of going to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, whatever, and picking up the first Spanish book you see, go to this website called fluentu.com and look up short Spanish stories. I try to find a story that matches kind of like a subject that or genre that I'm interested in, and then that's what I choose. However, with the thing you don't want to do is focus on trying to translate it in English. Right now, we're not worried about what the actual story means. We are worried about speaking the words and getting better at our pronunciation. That's what's important here. Don't worry about trying to translate each individual word to understand. The story shouldn't, like the genre, the topic, what's happening in the story shouldn't even matter. Because it don't matter that you can translate it, you can't speak it. You suck, okay? So I chose a story in El Puerto, which is about the airports, at the airports, because I travel a lot, like duh, it only fits. I read the story in Spanish, and then I'm gonna take my notes on things that I'm noticing. Am I mispronouncing something? Am I stumbling upon a word because I don't know what it means? Things like that. I'm taking notes, and then we'll get to it at the end. Miguel está haciendo fila en el aeropuerto. Es su turno y camina hacia el mostrador. La mujer del mostrador le pide su documento de identificación. I know that that's identification, but I am stumbling on that word. Identificación. Let me write that down. Y verifica los detalles de su vuelo. Si él está confirmado en el vuelo, I don't know how to say 103, that's for sure. 103 desde Los Ángeles hacia Hawaii el mediodía. Él tiene maletas para factura, pero tiene una maleta de mano pequeña que le va con él. El agente imprime su pase de abordaje. Los oficiales de seguridad del aeropuerto pasan junto en él con un perro grande. El perro está olfateando el traidor de equipo de las personas rentado de detecta drogas o explosivas. Hold on, I messed up that whole sentence. Hold on, let's go back. Miguel se siente aliviado cuando que ve el perro pasa junto él sin detenerse. De repente el perro se voltea y empieza a olfatear su maleta y ladra. El oficial de seguridad mira a Miguel. Señor, por favor. What? Señor, por favor, traiga su maleta y venga conmigo. Okay. That was fucking terrible. So one thing I noticed that I always do when I speak Spanish is I always end a word with a instead of o or e or e. Like at the end of it, I just said conmigo, and it's conmigo. Like what? Or hacienda, and it's haciendo, aeropuerto. Like I always do that. For some reason, I just naturally always use the a ending, and that's incorrect. So I'm gonna read what the I'm gonna listen to the audio and kind of like see the flow of it. And I was also reading very like because I'm not that great of a reader. So we're gonna get it together. I'm not a great of a reader in Spanish, not in life. Alright, so now that I wrote my notes and I was able to hear the person speak, I want to try to do this on my own again 2 to 3 more times so that I am getting better. Like, to give up now after I just read that so poorly, it's just going to do myself a disservice. So I tried to do something like this once a week where I'm reading a Spanish passage, paragraph, or something so that I get myself in the, you know, flow of saying something longer than a sentence. Because I feel like even when we're like first learning Spanish, we kind of just like read a sentence, read a phrase, read a question, and then we reply to it in a sentence or 2. So being able like to read like 10 paragraphs, that's really challenging yourself. So me sitting in a room by myself with no sound but myself and hearing myself is helping me speak better. So when I do speak to a native, I don't have that lack of confidence. It's like, oh, I'm gonna sound crazy. Like, you still gonna sound crazy, but a little less crazy than if you weren't practicing hearing yourself speak. Okay?